here. My name is Marie. Sometimes I talk so fast that I slur, in case you didn't just catch that one. Whoops. Anyways, it is Monday morning. Like I just said, I just got into my classroom. I'm actually early I just ran into one of my friends and she's like, I've hit that part of the year where I leave a little bit later every day. And I was like, I've hit that part of the year where in April, I finally hit the correct rhythm where I'm leaving on time. I live way closer to school than she does. Okay, maybe it was just like had to be there kind of a moment, but I thought it was funny. Anyways, I am going to run right now and get like 10 big pieces of butcher paper. I need to print off multiple copies of 5 different random sources of information, because today we are having a rumble. We are doing basically a silent write around. If you've ever seen one of those, if you haven't, I'm gonna explain all of it later on. But it's something really cool that I've been wanting to try, and then I found this idea of basically looking at sources for credibility in this kind of a write around way. And we're calling it a crap test rumble. Absolutely not my idea, something I have found. I will link the places where I found this idea down below, but I'm pretty excited about it. I need to go and take care of that stuff. That is for my sophomores this morning, because we are still looking at source credibility before they start a research project this week. And then my freshmen, we're doing some character analysis from To Kill a Mockingbird, because we watched the film last week after being introduced to the social and historical context. And we're gonna do some character analysis, and should be pretty awesome. I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. Hello again. So, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I'm guessing you probably do. I just had one of those days where like nothing quite, it wasn't like a bad day, but it was just an off day. Like nothing quite jived exactly the way I needed it to. And it wasn't even really my students, it was me. Like, it's getting hot outside, so they're getting a little funny, which I talked about last week too. You know, kids just get that way. And spring break is next week for us, so that you start to like feel it even more like towards the end, right before break, right? I was just off today and I am home. It is the afternoon on Monday. I am home. I am just sitting down in our like recliner that I don't even recline. And I wanted to go over with you guys what we did today, because it was super cool. And it's basically like a few ideas that I've taken from different places and then kind of like combined to make one. So essentially, I took an idea that I found on a blog, the name of which is completely escaping me right now, but I will totally link it down below. And I did what's called a crap test rumble. So basically taking a bunch of different sources of different types of sources, right? So different formats, different kinds of information, and having students run them through that crap test to evaluate the bias and therefore the credibility of the source, both the information provided in the source and the source that is providing that information. So I just wanted to have them to have some more like tangible just experience with judging credibility of a source. So they did that today, and basically the way that I set it up, as you saw just a moment ago in that footage from my classroom, is all around the classroom I had big pieces of butcher paper with the sources on top. And as students were going around, they had an actual sheet that said the whole like crap test system, and I had all the oh, okay. Sorry, we're having some yogurt right now. Yes, mommy will help you. And so it had all of the information. Oh gosh, sorry. So I had all of the information for the crap test acronym. Hold on, I'm squeezing yogurt. Here, baby. Ah, it's exploding. And then like a few guiding questions that go along with that. And I'll link that PDF down below too. It's not mine. I just got it from somewhere, and it's phenomenal because it's just like good guiding questions to get students like thinking.
My back.
What about your back? There are crackers on your back?
Yeah.
That's nuts. Oh, I'm sorry, that's crackers.
And Mama.
I have no idea what she's talking about. Bring him over here. Jack Jack. What is it, honey? Bring it over. Oh, you just want to show everybody the crackers? Oh, these are the Incredibles goldfish that we're eating.
Oh, Wyatt.
Uh-huh.
Mine.
They're yours and Wyatt's?
Yes.
You're very concerned.
Purple.
Uh-huh.
Red.
Cool. Thank you for showing me. So anyways, I put guiding questions around, and then basically students' jobs, job-wise, oh my gosh, the job of the students was in roughly 6 minutes-ish per, no thank you, per source. They had to go around with just the little crap test sheet to help them guide through and choose 1 or 2 elements of the crap test model, like of evaluation, to run each source through, and then create a comment based. Oh, thank you. And create a comment on the sheet around the source that talked about like their evaluation of the source's credibility. And then they need to look at a classmate's comment and respond with a few like details, right? So I told them like write all over the source, annotate it, draw arrows, underline, circle, do what you have to do. And I intended this at first to be completely silent because I was taking Jenna Copper from Doc Cop Teaching. She showed, oh gosh, like a few weeks ago now on her Instagram stories. Oh, thank you. Oh, you know, I'm not so stale. She showed a few weeks ago on her Instagram story an activity called a silent discussion, which is basically this, with different like text around the room, and you have different sources that students address without talking to each other, and it's a way to be able to see each other's comments without speaking. It's really cool. But because this is not like, this wasn't a series of texts that my students had already looked at, and I realized how,
Papa?
thank you so much. I realized how looking at these texts and doing a true silent discussion, as they were getting started, I was noticing students just kind of stop in their tracks. They didn't quite know what they were doing because they had to do a few things. They had to skim for information and look up the source itself, like the publication that it came from, and look up the author. They had a lot of jobs to do in a very short amount of time without prior knowledge of these texts that they were looking at. So I said, talk to each other, help each other out, as long as your conversation stays on topic. And because they're all at different tables, I'm able to like mill around and just kind of check. But I do think that if this was something that we had seen before, a silent discussion would have been really cool, but it was still cool to be able to like, they work together with their, they would come up with their initial comments with like a table mate. Here you go, you can eat it now. Thank you.
Pig.
No, I'm good. Thank you so much. You make it look so appetizing. Anyways, yeah, so back to what I was saying. Sorry, can you tell it's been a weird day? Like, it's just been a weird day. But it was a good day because it was really cool, because then I got to look back at the evidence of their conversation and like look through all of these posters and so now onto a personal note. I made a commitment to start a fitness and nutrition program. It's one of my very best friends, like runs fitness and nutrition groups. And I know I need to do it. And today's the first day of workouts. And all I have to do, as they say, is go press play. But like, I should not have sat down. I'm gonna do it. It'll feel good after. But I like so legitimately don't want to do anything right now. You gonna help mommy work out? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, I'm sure she's gonna be really helpful as she's like knocking the camera out of my hand. So, wish me a silent good luck from your screen, please. And I'm going to get on with the rest of our afternoon and evening. I will check in with you guys tomorrow and we will check in and see how my kiddos did. I'll show you what... That looks good. You just spit all over me. That's so gross. Okay. Dinner time?
Do this. Do this.
No, I'm good. I'm gonna take a solid pass, but thank you.
Do this. every, mommy, mommy.
Utter madness. Hi friends. So it is not Monday anymore. It is now Wednesday afternoon after school, in fact. And I just never got around to finishing up that vlog the other day. I had to run and get my kids Monday afternoon. Yesterday I was off campus Tuesday, and so today Wednesday. So I'm going to catch you up right now on what the crap test rumble ended up being like and how that all went and is still going, and how I've also moved forward with my students having to do with like all of this work with source credibility and evaluating bias and all of that good stuff within a source and within the information presented by a source, what we are doing with it. Right? So understanding a source and understanding its bias or its, you know, therefore its credibility is one thing. And then what are they going to do with it? So I will talk about that right now. So as you saw, Monday, and I'm actually going to grab my little like pile of posters that I have down here. Monday, my sophomores came in. All around the room were these butcher paper posters. So let me show you what their work looked like, and then how I can use this to guide my like further lessons in their research and how I've already used it to guide. Yeah, so here we go. Okay. So I am going to show you guys actually just the blog infographic, and here's what it looks like. Obviously the regular infographic on a screen is in color. It came from academicwritingsuccess.com, and students had their phones with them, so they're able to do a little bit of research as they went. But you can see over here some of the questions that I gave them. Who is the author? Is this person credible? What is their purpose for posting this? Just to get them like thinking. And so if I start to kind of just like go through some of these comments, you can see where they chose different areas of that crap test. So the purpose of this document or of this infographic is to compare MLA style to APA style in using quotations. The document is focused on comparing the different styles. Okay, this doesn't really talk about the credibility of the source, but it is a comment on the purpose. This one I thought was an interesting one because this gave me some information for future teaching. Suzanne Davis, who is like the maker or the preparer of this infographic, is credible because these are facts and not opinions. She posted this for educational purposes. And this one says, yep, I agree. This article is completely unbiased. So that particular comment I found very informative because I was noticing echoes of those sorts of comments where my students are understanding that less opinion will create more credibility if it's more factual for information being presented. However, where I am seeing that we are there's a little bit of a disconnect is where they're seeing facts being presented as completely unbiased, and bias or like amounts of bias or like different varying degrees of bias or extreme bias is therefore not credible as a source for information. So I feel like we need to have a little bit of a conversation. And this, you know what, honestly, 10th grade, this might just be like where we're at in the like biological maturity and the like physical ability to understand some of these things. So this I might be pushing it a little bit too much, but what I have started to talk about is, well, let's say that somebody has a very strong opinion on something. Like I have a very strong opinion on how to present text to students in a classroom. I have very strong opinions about giving students choice in their reading. Like we know this, and this is something that I said. Because my opinion is so strong, does that make me more or less credible of a source of information about getting students to read in a classroom? And they said, well, you're credible. And I said, well, why am I credible in that? And they said, because you're a teacher and you've been doing this for a long time and you've done a lot of research and And I said, yes. You know me, you know that about me. You didn't have to look me up to find out that like I'm credible in the like area of teaching reading and like having an opinion. But that is my opinion. And somebody in another classroom or somebody on another campus who's got the exact same on paper experience as me could have a completely different opinion. Does that make that person less credible? And they said no. And so they're starting to see where source credibility, like bias and opinion, is something to absolutely take into account when you're looking at source credibility, but it can't be the only thing because my credibility, my opinion can be weighed a little heavier or taken a little heavier or like more seriously because of my credibility. And so I think that's a pretty intense connection to make. So I don't know how far we're gonna get into that, but it's starting. Like I see the seed starting to grow a little bit. So that's what we've been working on. This has turned into a research project that they're doing in groups, which they will be presenting on Friday. So we've had some informal, like anecdotal assessment of their learning and nothing like really true assessment. This will be something that I test in like a midterm and after they do their project and they like are knowledgeable and they've done research and blah, blah, blah. So that's what's happening with my sophomores. My freshmen are doing some character analysis. We did some close reading of different passages about different characters in To Kill a Mockingbird. And we did a little just like analysis activity where they created a character silhouette. And this is stuff that I really heavily taught, like very directly, character analysis, like how to find clues of characterization and how to annotate and how to do close reading of a literary text last quarter. And since now we're in the second week of our last quarter of the year, I'm assuming that we are taking those skills and moving forward. And we just do like little bits of like review and just making sure we're all on the same like playing field of understanding and like recalling back what we did with Of Mice and Men and what we did with short stories earlier in this course and making sure that they see that it is a through thread that goes all the way from one part of the course to the next part of the course. And that's always kind of challenging. But yeah, that's where we're at. Tomorrow, they're gonna be outlining a body paragraph. They're gonna write a claim and then outline a body paragraph that analyzes one, like thematically analyzes one character from To Kill a Mockingbird, and then they're going to actually write it up on Friday, and then we go to spring break, and I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah, so we're just kind of getting stuff done. I realized when I was at a 504 meeting yesterday that I haven't put a single thing in the grade book. Like, I just like didn't do it. I like graded stuff, and then I've just left it, and like we're a week and a half into the last quarter of the year. So like, that's like quite a bit in, really. There's only 9 weeks in each quarter and I just didn't put any grades in. So I've been working to get that stuff updated so that like parents aren't like, what's going on in your English class, kiddo? And like students can, you know, go to spring break and like know where they stand. But we also have been doing so much like foundational and like context building and like expositional work to these units that I haven't collected a whole lot. So a lot of that will change though at the end of this week and students will have more like legitimate reflections of their progress in this course through a grade. Whoops. So I'm going to get to work on that stuff. Thank you guys for joining me. I wanted you to know that if you're not already subscribed to my newsletter through thecaffeinatedclassroom.com, go and do that because I am putting this stuff up in my like library for members and it's all free. All you have to do is just like sign up for the newsletter and you'll get a password to get in. I'm putting up a lot of these lessons that I think will be really helpful for you if you are teaching like source evaluation, if you're teaching To Kill a Mockingbird and that sort of stuff. So check that out. If you've not already subscribed to this channel, please take a moment to do so because the next vlog that you see will have a lot to do with what is going on moving forward. I also want to talk to you guys about like taking on professional responsibilities outside of your teaching in the classroom and like when do you feel comfortable doing that in your career and like what does that look like for everybody, because that's something I'm starting to really get into is like more work on campus outside of my classroom. So yeah, until we meet again, like I said, please subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Have a